Modeling is really amazing, and in this video I wanted to kind of explore some kind of out there things that would cost a ton of money in the real world. I was chatting to Frederick Carlson from the band Mezza Forte, Iceland's greatest export, and he used to use a rack, and he was saying essentially that he basically had like a version of the Bradshaw rig, right? So I wanted to kind of look into that sort of thing today. These videos are brought to you by G66 UK, and that's the place where you can grab your FM3s, FM9s, and Axfex 3s. The FM9 still got a short wait list, but there's a UK service centre, no import charges, all that good stuff. So, cab-wise today, I'm going to use the same cab for all of this, and I think what I'm going to do is go for a Dynacab Rumble with an EV speaker, and we'll kind of position our mic something like this. And then amp-wise, I wanted to go with something that I've never actually used before, because this is the really cool thing about modeling. Like, it's kind of free to check out some of the awesome stuff. So here we have the CA3. This is the Bob Bradshaw preamp thing, right? And he and John Sir came up with this. Initially, apparently, Bob Bradshaw kind of said to Mike Soldano, like, that him and Steve Lukather had been talking about putting together a preamp, and he came up with the Soldano thing. And then essentially Mike Soldano sold a bunch of them, and Bob Bradshaw got $100 per one sold. Didn't think that was enough, and ended up coming up with his own kind of product with John Sir, and this is what that is based on. So we got all three channels of it. This is going to be my first time checking that out. But what I wanted to do here is add in from our multi-tap delay, just going on with the Bob Bradshaw thing. We've got PCM circular and PCM pan. These are literally from the settings on the Lexicon PCM, which I believe is what was used by Steve Lukather. So he used both of these two in the real world, at least. And so that's, yeah, just an awesome block. Let's just put it there. Another thing from our classic kind of 80s Bradshaw rig. What about if we used our stereo tri-chorus? So that's an option, and also let's put that here actually. Classic kind of thing. If this was good enough for the Edge, it's good enough for me. I was listening to an actual interview with Bob Bradshaw, and he was talking about how they actually essentially got rid of his 2290 for an Axfex, which he basically recreated all of the presets that were in there on. Interesting. Pretty cool. And then the other thing that Frederick was actually asking about, was the reverbs in here. He was suggesting like, did he want or need to buy a Big Sky anymore? And my answer is, I think basically no. There's one thing the Big Sky can do that I don't think there's an easy way around, but I'm going to try and do this in another Fractal video. So that's there as an option as well. I think those cloud reverbs, which I think for me are what I knew the Big Sky for, and maybe even this Ice Castle actually. If you just turn these times up. To me, in general, those are as good as the Strymon reverbs, maybe even a bit more 3D. But I'm going to try at a later stage to do the kind of choral sound, because I think with a wah pedal or a formant kind of filter, we might be able to do something on that. But anyway, let's now put together our scenes. So, scene 1, we'll call this clean circular. Beautiful. Right, we'll jump into scene 2. Something seems to have changed. I think it's just going to be the amp. So I'm going to change this amp to, you guessed it, probably, scene here, the rhythm. And of course, for scene 3, I guess one last thing that we could do on this front to complete the vibe, maybe. I'm not even really thinking that we need anything in the way of drive up front, but what we could do, maybe, be to use a pitch block and do the dual detune thing. And we could, you know, equally chuck that sort of thing on with our rhythm. Call that like detune rhythm. And then detune lead, which we're going to jump across to our lead. And circular, probably don't need both delays, probably don't need the chorus. And last of all, to finish the thing off, I'm going to jump into my scene level. And last of all, I probably want a clean, so I'll copy clean circular to scene 7, but this will just be clean with no delay and just the pitch. And that could basically cover a bunch of stuff around the idea of kind of the Bob Bradshaw rig. Of course, you could mix and match in things like a tri-axis as well, if you want to get nuts with it. Or even, I think there is a Marshall preamp in here as well. So go crazy with it, drop in your dumbles. But that to me is what's so cool about this modeling world, is particularly in Fractal, where like you can have an idea, you can do some research, you can read up on what these kind of folks had in their rigs, and you can just build what would be in the real world a very expensive, complex kind of rack system, and just have that sort of thing for free. It's really cool. I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers to G66. I'll drop this up into the Gumroad folder. Cheers for stopping by.